Okay, it's already recording. I want us to look at question 5, where they are talking about fixed assets, cash flow, and interpretation. So I'm saying to you guys, the cash flow statement, it's simple. It's not difficult at all. Actually, that's the statement where we can pick up marks. The statement such as cash flow. Look at this question of 5.2.1. I will come back to 5.1, don't worry. Look at this question of 5.2.1. When you see such question, you should be happy. You should say, oh, thank God, I've got 5 marks in pocket. This one, we must take it, because they want us to calculate the amount of tax paid. Okay, and I said, when you calculate the amount of tax paid, I don't know if I write this side, you'll be able to see. I wish you see here. If you don't see, just be honest with me. I will write somewhere here. I will write here. But if you see here, no problem. Do you guys see where I'm writing? The income tax. Do you see? You don't have problem with that. Do you see?
Yes, we see.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to prepare. For me, when I calculate tax paid, I use the ledger account, because I know in accounting, we are used to preparing ledger account. Remember, in grade 10, we were preparing ledger account in grade 11 and in grade 12. So it makes sense if someone knows accounting, if you want to calculate tax paid, you will favor the ledger account. Actually, there are 2 ways in this case to calculate tax paid. Another method is to use note. One can say note of taxation paid. Do you also see what I'm writing as well? Happy? You have to see what I'm writing. Do you see as well?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's calculate the amount of tax paid. When we calculate the amount of tax paid, we focus on, guys, I'm recording this video. I'm going to send it to YouTube. So I advise you to mute your speaker for now. Yes, so that the only sound that is available is mine. Okay. I'm saying when we calculate tax paid, I once did this one. I know I'm revising it. When we calculate tax paid, we have to focus on Sars income tax, and we can pick this information from the balance sheet. Let's go to the balance sheet and look for Sars income tax. Here are the extract of the financial statement. Let's look for Sars income tax. Where is Sars income tax? If you see it, good. Here it's Sars income tax. Another one is 5,200. Sars income tax at the beginning. This one should be at the beginning. This one should be at the end. And this one should be at the beginning. It makes sense because this is 2016. Is the Sars income tax at the beginning. And this is 2017. It should be Sars income tax at the end. So the one at the beginning, guys, didn't I do this one with you? Okay. Asanda, do you see Sars income tax at the beginning? 3,390. Remember it. And okay, do you see Sars income tax at the end? Remember it. So we now go to the Sars income tax. Another thing you have to check, my opening balance of Sars income tax, if you look at it, it's a liability. You have to be careful. Sars income tax can be asset and can be a liability. In this case, it's a liability. You can see with Sars income tax, it is with liabilities. It is with shareholders for dividends. It is with bank overdraft. So, it's a return CR. CR, which means it's a liability. CR for a creditor. SARS is a creditor. SARS is a creditor. So the opening balance is a liability, 3390. So this is what you do. You record the opening balance. If the opening balance is a liability, remember that the opening balance of a liability is on the credit side. You say balance brought down, 3,390. The opening balance of a liability is on the credit side. Remember that. Opening balance of liability on credit side. It is the opening balance, Carveli. It was the amount for 20, for which year? For 2016. So it's the opening balance. Now we have Sars Income Tax, the closing balance of 5,200, and as well, it's a liability. We see CR. Now you know that if the opening balance of a liability is on credit, it means that the closing balance of a liability is on debit. So you come and say the closing balance. In this case, you say balance carried down. My memory is not that strong. What is the closing balance of Sars Income Tax? 5,200. Are you guys happy up to this far? You can't fail to put the opening balance on the credit side and a closing balance of a liability on the debit side. I think you guys, you are happy with this one. Now we say income tax, which we are going to find from the income statement. You'll see me coming to this part is the income statement. Where is the income tax of our financial year? Remember, what are we are doing things for 2017? We don't have the income tax in this case. They did not give us the income tax, but we know that the income tax is the difference between profit before income tax and profit after income tax. So if you subtract these two, if you say 422,500 minus 295,750, you will find the income tax. The difference between these two. Guys, are you still here? I'm afraid Apple Network, you on Zoom, you are never sure. You think you are talking to people? Are you guys still here? We are going to take the profit after tax, we less the profit before tax, whichever, or you take profit before tax, you less after tax. The difference is the income tax, 422,500. This is the profit before tax. You less the one after tax. The difference between these two things, they should give you tax, 295,750. The income tax is 126,750. 126,750. The income tax, I'm writing it with a different pen. The income tax is always on the credit side. 126. It was 126 how much? 50 or 500. The difference, did you guys calculate it? The difference between these two. I wish that you are also making your calculation somewhere. It's sorry. It's 422,500 minus 295. Guys, we should work together. You should help me. 295,750. It's 126,750 actually. 126,750. You see, wrong amount here. It should be 126,750. Our income tax. Then what you do in accounting, once you have shown the opening balance, the closing balance, the income tax, which is always on the credit side, from where? from the income statement. This one, you find it from the income statement. Once you did this, you now close the account. You compare, you look at the bigger side. You compare the credit side with the debit side. Which side is the bigger one? Obviously, in this case, is the credit side. So you close your account. Accounting is so nice, eh? You close the account. So you're going to, the credit side looks big. So you add these two figures on the credit side, which is you add how much? 3,390 together with 126,750. You add these two, you find the credit figure, which is 130, 140. Calculate move a kapela, man. It's 130, 140, right? Did you guys calculate it? Guys, you must work. You are not going to be my spectator. You add these two. Are you getting 130, 140? Now, we less 5,200 to get the balancing figure on the debit side. 130, 140 minus 5,200. 130, 140 minus plus 126. I'm just confirming 130, 140 if it's correct. Sorry. 130, 140 minus how much? 5,200. 124,940. 124,940. You now call it bank. What is this figure? Is the taxation paid. That's what they want. This is the five marks they were looking for here. Taxation. Calculate the amount for the cash flow statement. Now, what I know, if you look at the answer book of question 5, you might find out or there is no space to prepare Sars income tax. You cannot show your calculation by saying by preparing ledger. So what you do here, you show your calculations. You say, to get 124,940, actually you said 3,390 plus 126,750. These two guys, remember these two, they are the one that gave you 130,140. And you said 130,140 minus 5,200 minus 5,200. Then you get the taxation paid, which is 124,940. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the other mark? Where do we get the other mark? Oh, this taxation paid, but it's not in the cash flow. If it was in cash flow, you were going to put it in the bracket, because we will be saying the amount is going out of the business. I'm referring to something like this. If we were preparing cash flow statement, we were going to say operating activity, cash from operating activity, and then you say taxation paid. Then you specify the amount of tax paid. It's 124,940. It should be in the bracket to show where the money is going out of the business, is the outflow of cash. This is the taxation paid, 5 marks. You pass accounting grade 12, you go to accounting grade 13. Are you guys happy with the way I calculated the amount of tax paid? Are you happy? Any question? Let's check if you are even still here. Am I not talking alone? Guys, you are welcome. Those who joined us later, I did not see that some joined. Are you happy, especially Kwekecho and the lady from Cape Town, Asanda, because you started with me. Are you happy with the way I calculated taxation paid?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And then the rest, any question, guys? You are welcome, guys. Any question? Matume, any question with tax paid? Sam, any question with the way I calculated tax paid?
So now
Yeah,
I
can
don't
you
have
do
the
it again?
question.
Okay, let me give one person at a time. Let me start with Matume. I hear Matume want to say something. What are you saying, Matume?
Now I just wanted to say I don't have the question, but then I just wanted you to recap.
Oh, you don't have the question. Oh, I get you. Oh, you just want me to go through it again, just to say,
Yeah.
okay, I get you, I get you, and then I will recap, and then Sam
Yeah, same is.
or recap. Oh, this thing actually is not difficult to calculate tax paid. Is not difficult. What you do, you you prepare Sars income tax. You look at the Sars income tax at the beginning. Is 3390. Here it is. And it's what? It's a liability. How do I know? I see CR here. This CR means SARS is a creditor. Whatever the business owes SARS. We owe the SARS at the beginning of the year 3,390. And in accounting, this is the opening balance. The amount of 2016 is the opening balance. And the amount of 2017, SARS income tax of 2017 is the closing balance. Now, this one of the opening balance, we know that the opening balance of a liability is on the credit side. Here it is, the opening balance on the credit side. We know that the closing balance of a liability, 5,200, the closing balance is on the debit side. Here it is on the debit side. Income tax is always on the credit side of this account. So here it is. Then you use this free 1 to 3 to calculate. You close the account. You say this one plus this one. You add this two. This two gives you this one. You close the account with it. Now you say 131.40 minus 5,200. You get tax paid. That's why we write bank. It means we are talking about the amount paid is 124,940. This is the taxation paid calculated using the ledger account. I'm not in a rush. I'm also going to show you the note. The note for taxation paid. Another method. Or you guys, you are happy with ledger? Do you understand ledger? I personally think the ledger account makes sense. To be honest, when it comes to notes or for taxation paid, normally I have to read more. Somehow, note for taxation paid, I tend to forget it after 3 months. I might forget this note for taxation paid, but a ledger account, it's an accounting principle. I cannot forget that how we prepare ledger account, because I've learned ledger from grade 10. I know what the opening balance of a liability is on credit, whereas its closing balance is on the debit. And I know that the income tax always increases the amount due to SARS. So I know it should be on the credit side. Are you guys happy with the ledger account? Can you use the ledger account to prepare taxation paid? However, if you are mastering ledger account, there is no need to talk about note. But let me just go through it. When you do the note for taxation paid, you start with the balance at the beginning. You say balance at the beginning of the year. How much was the balance of the beginning of SARS? Is 3390. From we were owing SARS 3390. It was a liability. So you put it on the credit. Listen to me, guys, very, very, very attentively. What I do when I do this note, I always say the liability at the beginning is on bracket. Sorry. The liability at the beginning, I put it in bracket. That is why I say 3390 is a liability at the beginning To me, I should put it in the bracket. Now I know I will put income tax. Income tax always in bracket. Now I go to balance at the end. A liability at the end, I don't put it in the bracket, 5,200. So listen, guys, the liability at the beginning is in the bracket, whereas the liability at the end, do not put it in the bracket. So now you use your calculator. You say minus 3,390 minus 1,26750 plus 5,200. You should get the amount of taxation paid. Can you guys do that for me? I think you should get 124,940. So this is the amount of taxation paid calculated using note. Once more, the liability at the beginning of the year, put it in the bracket. The one at the end of the year, do not put it in bracket. So you calculated taxation paid. I'm leaving taxation paid unless there is a question. I'm going to go for dividend paid. Excuse. Dividend paid. I mean, taxation paid. Do we have a question?
Sir,
Yes.
and I do have a question.
Okay.
With this 126,750.
Yes.
Ijore,
Oh, the question is irrelevant. This one is the income tax. In which financial statement do you find income tax? In which financial state? Do you still remember the last part of the bottom part of the statement of comprehensive income? Let me just use this word because I'm going to send this lesson to YouTube. They should know that we are aware of the terminology. Previously we used to say income statement. We no longer say it's income statement. Nowadays we say is the statement of comprehensive income. Do you still remember the bottom part of the income statement? The last three, can you name the last three part of the income statement? Profit before tax, I've named one for you. Profit before tax, then after? Who? You are not hearing me. If you know the income statement, the bottom part,
Income tax.
income tax, the last three part of the income statement is like this: is profit before tax, it's income tax, is profit after tax. This is the bottom part of the income statement. So this income tax you are asking about comes from the income statement, which is the difference between profit before tax and profit after tax. Let me show you where we picked it. We picked it here. The difference between before tax and after tax. The profit before tax and the profit after income tax. The difference between these two things will give you the income tax. Did I answer your question? 126,750. If you subtract these two, your question was irrelevant. Yes, you must know where it comes from the income statement part, the difference between profit before tax and the profit after tax. Did I answer you?
yes, sir.
Okay, you are welcome. Any other question? Thanks for your question made a huge sense. Thanks for that, because you must understand where figures come from. Another question. Oh, so you guys understand the taxation paid. Now I'm going to go to the dividend paid. I'm going to go for the dividend paid. Let me erase this part of the ledger account. Now, funny enough, now we can calculate dividend paid using ledger account, but it will be unnecessarily complex for you because you will need to understand a lot of things there. For now, I just want you guys to get marks in the exam room. I want you guys to get marks in the exam room. So I'm going to show you how to calculate dividend paid using note. In this case, don't use ledger account. There are a lot of things that you will have to know. Just go straight to the note. You say note of dividend paid. Remember, when we pay dividend, we pay it to the shareholders, the owners of the company. So normally now we are going to look at the shareholders for dividend. We will say balance at the beginning. Balance at the beginning of the year. Balance at the beginning of the year. How much was the balance at the beginning of the year of shareholders for dividend? Shareholders for dividend shows how much we owe to the shareholders. How much did we owe at the beginning of the year? Yes, shareholders for dividend. Good, 50,000 from the balance sheet. Balance sheet portion is very important when we prepare cash flow. We owed 50,000. They say I'm running out of time. We owed 50,000. So what I'm going to do now, balance at the beginning is 50,000. And shareholders for dividend is always a liability. So we put it in the bracket. Remember, I said the liability at the beginning should always be in the bracket. Whereas the liability at the end, let me just say balance at the end here. Balance at the end. Referring to shareholders for dividend, you have 98,000. So you put it, do not put the liability at the end. Do not put it in the bracket. Remember, at the balance at the beginning is a balance of a liability. You put it in the bracket. The one at the end, do not put it in the bracket. Now, between there is something here. There is what we call dividend on ordinary shares, which we know is made up two things. It's made up of interim and final. Remember, the dividend on ordinary shares, guys, is made up of interim and final. This was easy part to fill. The tricky might be with the dividend on ordinary shares. Let's go and search for interim dividend and final dividend. We need it. We need those two to calculate dividend paid. You will inform me if you see anything to do with interim. In the income, nothing. Let's check. Let's read. Here they are saying share capital and dividend. We expect something to do with dividend here. The interim dividend of 70,000 was paid. So we have interim dividend. Okay? We just put it. Interim dividend, it's 70,000. I'm looking for a final dividend now. Did you guys see where I took interim? Yeah? On information C, there is interim here.
Yeah.
Yes. Now let's look for a final dividend. Oh, don't look further. Don't look further. What you do, I wish you hear me here. I wish you hear me here. The shareholders for dividend at the end of the year, these shareholders for dividend of 98,000, it is your final dividend. I wish you hear me with this one. The final, the shareholders for dividend at the end of the year. The shareholders for dividend at the end of our financial period, the one of 2017, not the one of 2016. It is your final dividend. So you already have a final dividend by just looking at the shareholders for dividend. 98,000. Guys, I wish you heard me there. If you did not hear me, you'll end up calculating unnecessarily. Once you have shareholders for dividend at the end of the year, 98,000, just know it is your final dividend. Now, which means you have dividend on ordinary shares. You add interim and final. You add 70,000 and 98,000. 0 plus 8 is 816, which means it's 168,000 is the dividend on ordinary shares, always in bracket, more like the income tax. Income tax, when we calculate tax paid to Sars, it's always in bracket, this guy. Even the dividend on ordinary shares, always in bracket. Now it's easy to calculate dividend paid. What you do, you say 50,000 minus 50,000 minus 168,000 plus 98,000. Minus 50,000 minus 168,000 plus 98,000 will give us the dividend paid. Minus 50,000 minus 168,000 plus, yes, plus 98,000. Oh, I thought there is a question.
It's minus 120.
It's minus
120,000.
or it's not 168,000.
I agree the answer.
The figure is 120,000 is our dividend paid. Again?
Yeah.
So you can do this. When you show calculation, you can say 98,000 was a positive figure. You just say 98,000. It is not in the bracket. You less 168,000. You less 50,000. How much is dividend paid? 120,000. One can ask, why it seems like there are a lot of marks here? No, I'll show you another way of calculating dividend paid. But this one, don't forget it, guys. This is what they teach us in grade 12. Don't forget this. A shortcut way, there is a shortcut way. A shortcut way is just to take your interim dividend, which is 70,000. You just take interim 70,000. You add with shareholders for dividend of last year. Someone, I wish you are hearing me. If you take interim dividend and you add it with shareholders for dividend of last year, I think you should get 120,000 as well. How much is shareholders for dividend of last year? The one at the beginning of the year, 50,000. It's 120,000. So I believe here they are saying 1, 2, 3. That's why they say it's 3 marks. So if you take, and it's the simplest way, if you don't want confusion, if you take interim dividend, and it will help you guys, especially if final dividend calculation is difficult. In this case, you can calculate dividend paid without using final dividend. You just take interim dividend of 70,000. You take interim, you add it with shareholders for dividend of last year. How much is the shareholders for dividend of last year? Here it is 50,000. Guys, write this formula down. Write this equation down. Every dividend paid equals to interim plus shareholders for dividend of last year. You should get the dividend paid. Hopefully everyone is happy. Do you guys have a question regarding the dividend paid? Question, guys? No question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir. Bon, at first I get rulare. You just say minus 50,000 minus 168 plus this other 98. Yampa minus 120. I get.
Eh.
Then when I use this interim dividends plus shareholders for dividends for last year,
Yes.
Yampa positive.
Positive.
Yamba is it.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. When we prepare cash flow, we know the dividend paid is going to be in bracket. Don't worry with negative, with positive. When you prepare cash flow statement, because it's dividend paid, you put it in the bracket, you say 120,000. But the calculation here, whether it's negative or it's positive, the examiners, they don't matter